Ladies and gentlemen, the hour has arrived. We'll call this meeting to order. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to ask you, if you will, to have the invocation for me.
Father, we do thank you for our assembly today and to our city council. I ask you to look down upon us and give us mercy and grace, give us understanding and give us wisdom to help us to handle the city business. Now, God, we ever ask you to bless this nation, our soldiers on the battlefield. Bless all those that are sick and bereaved. Look down on those that in the storm. We thank you and we're glad for your protection and guidance. Those that just went through, you don't make a mistake. You know what you're doing. Those that was in the earthquake, God, look down upon them today. We ask these blessings in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay, gentlemen, you all have the agenda there. Anybody got any additions? Corrections? I have an item that I want to add. Let's put it as item number 6. We removed the fire hydrant maintenance thing. We got distracted on that. Let's make item number 8. I want to do a brief discussion on the Gill Street well. Something with Glenn and I want to just briefly, if you all don't mind, allow me to amend it and put the Gill Street well discussion as item number 8. Do I entertain a motion that we do that?
Make a motion.
All right, Mr. Griffin made a motion that we add item number 8, the Gill Street well. Is there a second? Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion is carried for the amendment. Now then, is there any other amendments we need to make to the agenda? Hearing none, I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
That's a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Bloodworth made a motion that we approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a agenda before us, an amended agenda. Let's get started. Mr. Hall, you're first. If you'd come up to the figure right here. And we heard most of your situation in our work session. If you would just briefly summarize what you've got there.
Okay. I had water damage on the Burkett Ferry house that got stopped up in the city's line behind the apartment complex across the road and backed the water up into my rental house that I have there, the old home place, and backed it up into it. And I had to tear out all the carpet, take all the baseboard out, padding the tack strips, and redo it, paint up where it had got messed up. We had to disinfect it and everything. I had called Ballinger about coming and doing it and sucking it out and tearing the carpet and all out. And he said that he would get back with me, and then when I called him back, he said he didn't want to put it in there. And so that's where we stand. And I had
What was the amount of your damage?
$2,307.08.
Say it again.
$2,307.08.
Okay, now we've gone through this, as you well know, and submitted it to our insurance company.
Yeah.
They've had their people, and I think our insurance company, their representative contacted you.
Yes.
And then when we finally got back that they had researched it and said that we were not liable. Now, when we were in the work session Monday, our water superintendent was not here. Bland, can you put any clarification to what Mr. Hall has said?
Not really, other than the fact that that old line that goes behind at the house is very low. And any disturbance, there had been a check valve put on there. For some reason, the check valve wasn't working. So it's not our responsibility to keep them working. But if there's a disturbance, that house has trouble. But the only way out of it would be a pump station or something put in behind Wayne's house.
I mentioned that to you.
And This has only happened one time before. It's been about 10, 12 years ago. Now, stuff came from the nursing home that clogged the line. And, this time I saw no reason for we brought it out. It was stopped up. I cannot tell you why it stopped up, other than it was stopped up, we brought it opened up.
Mr. Stone didn't remember that y'all had took the backhoe and pushed the trees down and went in behind the apartment complex there.
Yeah.
And
They found trees and limbs back there where we couldn't even get to it. We had to make a roadway
and
to
that,
get into it.
and that's where that y'all got it out and got it to go on. But, you know, you say that it's low, and that I've never, unless the nursing home, and that's where I've always heard it come from. Now, I can't prove it because I haven't brought it out, hadn't done it, whatever. But I never have a problem with it whatsoever. You know, with it on my end and it going out there. And, so it got stopped up on down the line in y'all's line and backed it up into the house there.
Well, that's what the check valve is there for, to let your sewer go out, but when it goes, relax back to position, nothing is supposed to go this way. The check valve was put there to keep you from having a backflow, and the check valve did not function, but the fact that it didn't function is not our fault. Now, here again, we want to help, we don't want to cause an imposition, but if that check valve that's there behind your house, if it had worked properly, you would not have had this problem. And that's the reason our insurance company said that if there was a problem, a check valve was put in because of the nature of the, out in the street, we'll say our manhole is here. Your house floor is like where a boy is sitting in the chair there. Now keep in mind that the manhole covers here, and it's way down further deeper than his chair to the bottom where sewer runs. But if it does back up and comes, and it backs up and comes out to the manhole, it's gonna run in your house because your house is downhill. Your house should be, and that's the reason the check valve was put there. In the event something happened, you've got something to keep you from getting in trouble. And that's the reason our insurance company denied it. Now, gentlemen, we can always overrule the insurance company. I think if we do, I'm going to suggest that you regularly check that valve. It's close to the top of the ground there. You can see it. I saw where it was there. It's right close. You can make sure that that thing is functioning, because if it happens again, since you're lower than our sewer system, I think we need to put some stipulation that you have to maintain that valve. If they, I don't know what the council's going to say.
I'll make that motion that we reimburse him the money with the stipulation that he takes care of that valve.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Griffin has seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion?
The only problem I have, and I think I mentioned this to Mr. Hall, we've been to this 3 or 4 times before now, and older houses were required to put those valves in because they kept coming acting up, because when they backed up, the city would actually do it, but then when the homeowners put it in, the city didn't go back in again to do nothing after that valve.
If the check valve had worked, he would have had the problem.
Yeah.
And the check valve is your problem and on your property. So, and here again, just like this council, right immediately, we want to help. We want to help you. We think the world of you and your family. But now with that sort of situation, that being lower than our sewer system, we can't keep every time, and sewer's going back up. And when it does, if your check valve don't work, you're gonna cost us another $3,000 or $2,000, whatever it is.
Well, and I agree with you, and don't want to get up here and start causing any problem and everything.
Well, you're not causing a problem.
Okay, all right. When I was on the hospital board for 8 years, and there was a council here, I think you was on it, Eric, you was on it.
When Jack was there.
Yeah, when Jack was here, I loved you wasn't, and, but anyway, it came up that where the hospital was putting stuff in the drain, and it was getting out in the street, and it was stopping it up, and it was causing houses to do this, and in front of McDonald's there and all that, okay? the city said they weren't doing anything. And the county bought 2 1,500-gallon distribution. And Bland, we did come and get it okay where he wouldn't get fired. Dwayne, you remember, Eric, I think you remember. Okay, I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. But we took our excavator, we went out there, we dug it, we bought them, we paid for them, where it would be like distribution boxes. And I know for a fact, and if Bland went back and checked his records, probably, it's done it back about 12 years ago, and Bland will tell you there, I went in and gutted the whole house or ever two before, and everything got littered.
Well, that's the reason the check valve was there.
Yes, and Bland put the check valve in then.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, but I can go by and check it, and if it's flipping, you know, how somebody flush it, wash it, but then the next day, it don't mean that if that water, when they start pumping it, and they washing them clothes and all, I'm not trying to paint a bad picture for anybody, but they need to be talked to or asked, and them.
You don't, wait a minute, let me help you get, let the folks understand. This is out at the convalescent home,
Yeah.
and the convalescent home has got the same problem he's talking about with the hospital. There people are flushing diapers, big adult diapers and everything down, and it's creating the same problem similar to what he was talking about in the hospital.
But we've had it 3 or 4 times, it just hadn't got that high to come up in the commode and flood out into the house. And that day, you can come and pump it and think you got it, because you'll get all that manhole and back toward the hospital. But then if they turn on those washing machines or them big things start pumping it don't take long to find out that wasn't where the problem is, does it, Bland? And then it's back up in the house and going forward.
Well, it looks like you've got a favorable situation working here now. Keep in mind that we're asking you, and I think Mr. Bloodworth is correct, that we're gonna, he's made a motion that we pay this expense for you, but we expect you to keep that check valve working from now on.
Okay. All right, this, if we're not going to do anything in the nursing home, whatever, if there was something out there that had a hole in that manhole that went down and would rise up, kind of like we do in our tanks that we haul water, you know, to the fields to spray with, it pushes it up in there, and you can tell when it's beginning to fill up, and then, you know, can call it in. I mean, I can't go out there and lift that manhole.
That's out of where it creek. I mean, it would be clogged up, and we're gonna work, we have already in the past, after that first time happened. I mean, make a lot of adjustments out there, and it is a grease out there. But it's not grease.
Are you telling me there's a trap out there now for this?
There's a trap, there's a grease trap, is it not?
This is not a trap for this type of material. They make a situation where the hospital, like Wayne was telling you, you can put something in it's a reservoir. When it goes through, all this type of material will drop and won't get into your pipes and mess up your sewer line. We may need to work on that. We've spent enough time on this. We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Okay, I'm sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, we got it both ways. Okay, Wayne, you battle fast.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Veterans, you're here, and let's see.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I think we've got a good representation of our veterans here. I'm Roy Anderson, president of the Jeff Davis County Veterans Association. I appointed a committee of Bernie Hand and J.T. Nash to come to the mayor and ask the city for a proclamation declaring the city of Hazelhurst a Purple Heart City. This is a distinction honoring all veterans, including the ones that got injured in war and those that were awarded the Purple Heart, the Order of the Purple Heart. We presented this motion and the workshop. We asked the committee, council, to vote on this proclamation and declare Hazelhurst Purple Heart City.
Okay, we've made preparations since Monday night, and I'll have our attorney to read what we've got prepared, and we'll handle that just briefly.
All right. Whereas the citizens of the city of Hazelhurst have the utmost gratitude and admiration for all of the men and women who have selflessly served this great nation in the United States Armed Forces. And whereas all veterans have paid the price of freedom by leaving their families and communities to place themselves in harm's way for the greater good. And whereas many members of our armed forces have given their lives as a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom so that we may live free from tyranny and oppression, and we continue to honor their sacrifice. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration in present use, it was initially created as the badge of military merit by General George Washington in 1782. And whereas the Purple Heart was the first American Service Award or decoration made available to the common soldiers, it is specifically awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or paid the ultimate sacrifice in combat with a declared enemy of the United States of America. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of men and women from the city of Hazelhurst and Jeff Davis County who served in the United States Armed Forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas many citizens of our community have earned the Purple Heart Medal for injuries sustained while engaged in combat with enemy forces on the battlefield. And whereas the City Council of the City of Hazelhurst hereby designates September 21st, 2017 as the day the City of Hazelhurst remembers and recognizes our veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart. And whereas the City of Hazelhurst appreciates the service of all of its military veterans, combat veterans, Purple Heart recipients and their families for the sacrifices they have made in defending our freedom, and hereby expressly honors them for their service to our community and great nation. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Hazelhurst hereby proclaims the City of Hazelhurst to be a Purple Heart City to honor the service and sacrifice for our nation's men and women in uniform wounded or killed by the enemy while serving to protect the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. Resolved this 21st day of September 2017.
Gentlemen, you've heard the proclamation that our attorney has drawn for us. I entertain a motion that we so proclaim this and authorize my signature to be affixed.
I make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign the proclamation to make Hazelhurst a Purple Heart City.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Brother veterans, the proclamation is thereby approved, and I will fix my seal and we'll prepare it for you so that it'll be presented to you.
Mayor, would it be appropriate for our veterans to salute you, yes?
Be fine.
Veterans, take your foot. Present. Order.
Thank you. Thank you.
Order.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Order.
How are we supposed to reciprocate that of us?
Just what you did.
Thank you all for your service.
Yeah,
Thank y'all.
Yep, go ahead. brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for presenting. Both of y'all did a good job.
How's that going to be displayed?
It'll be displayed at the municipal buildings before we have our meetings.
So,
It'll be framed.
we'll frame it, what?
If y'all want to frame it, we'd like to hang it in the municipal building where we have our monthly meetings.
Okay. It'll be so fixed, we're gonna, I'll sign it and we're gonna frame it for you and present it to you, and we'll have a copy, the clerk will have a copy on record here.
Okay, would you mind after this meeting, let's take a few pictures for our Facebook?
Be glad to, yeah. All right, I think we've accomplished that item. Let's move along. Mr. Booth?
Yes, sir.
And for those that don't have the agenda out there, this is voting on a zoning change. We're taking an area where Hazelhurst Mills briefly used to occupy and spread out, and we all know what Hazelhurst Mills was at one time. It's not quite as big and things good, and now we've considered changing a little zoning in that area, and Mr. Booth's gonna tell you about it.
First of all, I want to apologize to the committee for not being here Monday night.
Sorry.
I planned to bring it up Monday night, but I was down in the back and I couldn't hardly move. So, but the zoning committee had a meeting the 13th of this month, which is 2 weeks ago. And it was to, I want to request from Mr. Wood that we rezone the area that the mayor just on Curry Street. He owned a piece of property at 54 Curry Street, which is the old Savings and Loan Association for Hazelhurst Mills. And we had put up a sign for rezoning, and the sign was up the appropriate amount of time. And the zoning board discussed this, and due to the fact that the mill has downsized so much more in the last few years, that we voted to rezone all the area on both sides of Curry Street, the north side and the south side, which was zoned industrial. We voted to rezone it residential, R3 residential. That is on the north side and the south side of Curry Street. And as you come down on the west end of Curry Street, there's a little jog there that goes down to Odom Street, which is by the recreation area. That will be included in it. To rezone all that was industrial to residential.
Okay. And you jumped through all the loops, everything's been done.
Everything's been taken care of.
Every notification of all the neighbors and everything,
The
it's all in.
sign was up longer than it was.
And by the way, just for the, y'all's information, before we do this, every resident in that area gets a letter, and you have any problem with it, and I don't think you had the first person to,
We didn't have anyone here.
no one opposed it?
No opposed.
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone, I think, was in more than in favor of it, because now they can fix up their homes. Before, when it was industrial, they couldn't do anything to their homes, you know, but now they can fix up their homes and do whatever they want to with them, and actually, it's not that hot. And it will actually be about you know.
Yeah, okay, and for further clarification, see, after the zoning committee years ago zoned that, it was Hazelhurst Mills was growing, it was booming. They were allowed to stay there as long as they left it like it is, as long as they lived there. But if they moved or anything was to be modified, it was not allowed.
Right.
Now then, people can go down there and remodel their houses and do what they want to because it's now zoned residential. We changed that area. Gentlemen, you've heard the Brother Gooch. I think we're ready for a motion that we accept the recommendation to change this area from industrial to residential R3.
Make a motion that we change the zoning for Curry Street from industrial to residential.
All right, motion's been made. Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is rezoned. You can tell those folks they can comply with R3.
Right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Under the wire. Okay, the next item is, in a brief explanation, life goes on and life changes. Things never stay the same. Our old faithful and managers of our old Piggly Wiggly would have never thought that they would stop that store here in life. Never would have happened. Off of our Piggly Wiggly, get that mess out of here. Well, with the way things have changed, the store, the owners of the store, they're losing too much money, and it's necessary to change it so that when you go to your old Piggly Wiggly, now you can pick up your favorite bottle of wine, or you pick up a six-pack of beer. As soon as we get this approved, they met all the qualifications. We checked the zoning, and everything was sufficient. And all it did, you got the last thing done today, I believe.
Yes, sir, and Chief Williams did look at this and went over.
We jumped through all the loops. That's what I call doing everything we're supposed to. Gentlemen, this thing is ready for you. I entertain a motion. We approve the beer and wine license for Piggly Wiggly.
Make a motion to approve the beer and wine.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion. We approve the beer and wine license for Piggly Wiggly. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You can buy your beer and wine at Piggly Wiggly. They're ready to put, they already got their coolers and everything ready. I think they may have an inventory in the back there.
I'll call Mr. Kugel and
Okay, Lori, you did an excellent job, Luke. You did an excellent job Monday night. Come and recap it. Come and recap it and make it where these folks will buy it if you're trying to sell it.
And I did ask her to prepare this and call other cities. The fees we're charging for sewer tap, they're not even anymore paid for the material, much less time. We're patching roads, clean out, everything. It doesn't include, we do considerable money every time we do a sewer tap. And, we just regret that.
Now, I believe this, didn't we have some discussion about water as well?
Not at this time.
Oh, not at this time,
No,
okay.
sir.
We're not going
Right
to.
now, what we're concentrating on is the sewer tap fees and the road cut fees. And, just a quick recap,
Right.
I've had several meetings with Bland. We've polled several cities, economical status, population roughly about the same as ours. Okay? What we're charging now for a sewer tap or a road cut doesn't even pay for a third of what it's costing for the machinery, the supplies, the manpower, any of that stuff.
Let me interrupt you a minute, and you help me, and I may have everything right, if I get wrong, you correct me. This is new cuts.
New customers.
I
I just
think
had
it
a
will help everybody
discussion.
to understand.
Right.
This is not anything to do with an existing service to a house.
No, sir.
This, if a new business or a new residence is put in, and we have to cut the street and get down to where that sewer pipe is sometimes 10 or 12 feet deep, and we have to cut the street and resurface and patch it, and then get to it with the necessary things. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're losing anywhere from $600 to $1,500 every time we perform one cut-in or one street cut. I gave all the members of the council the proposed dollar amount. I'm sure there'll be a few adjustments here and there, but the dollar amounts that I've proposed, Bland and I would really like to stick to, okay? And basically, I'm here just to ask for someone to please present a motion, make a vote to either accept or decline.
Gentlemen, you looked, you heard what she said. She went over it in detail.
What are the fees?
Monday night.
Right here. There's the fees that we were currently charging. This is proposed for inside the city. This is outside the city. I would
Yes, sir, if you don't mind.
The current fees inside the city for a sewer tap, $250, street cut, $250. Outside the sewer tap, outside the city limit, $375, street cut, $375. Proposed inside the city limit sewer tap fee, $650, street cut, $750. Outside the city limits sewer tap, $975, street cut fee, $1125. That's what has been presented to us at this time. I feel like that what she's given us and the research she's done, and her and Bland have gone over, I feel like that this is I don't think it's unreasonable for us to go to these fees. We have to take and pay our men, we still have to run our equipment, we still have to buy supplies, we can't just give them away. And these prices we're charging are 1980s prices, and I can promise you that the equipment and that all the supplies they need cost more than that.
Also, in our package, you folks don't have the benefit of that. She gave us other cities, even Waycross, what
The
else?
Satilla that I gave, I actually had like 3 different
Yeah.
communities. Waycross was included. I
And
gave
then another-
Alma and Glenville.
All right, she had comparisons of others. And another thing that I want to say, council, and addressing the public with this increase, if anybody's has been out in the county, in the areas that we reach with our sewer, now we reach way out of the city in a lot of directions. And where we've got service out, north, south, east, and west, outside of the city, if those people were to dig and put them in a septic tank, a business or a residence, they would be glad. These figures don't look near as bad when they say if they were outside and they go build them a house, and they would call the septic tank man and let him give you a price, and then you don't have, you've got to maintain it if something goes wrong with it. When you hook on to us and hook it out to the city, the whole Bland's got to look after it. This is a heck of a bargain compared to putting in a septic tank. Yes, sir.
I would offer a motion.
I'm ready.
Accept the proposed increase.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion that we accept the proposal by Lori and Bland. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion?
The only question I had when I asked Lori, as long as this wasn't the assistance to our homes, this is impact fees for new construction.
That's right. This
And that includes pipe, labor, everything. I understand comparing us with other cities, but I say if we can do it economically, help our people, I don't care what the other folks charge. If we don't charge but $2 and get by with it, they can charge $200. As long as it's easier for our people, I don't care about.
And I understand
I
that
know.
it was very hard for Glenn and I, but
Yeah.
when we did the numbers, just what I call a dream sewer cut-in was $680
Yeah.
minimum.
I mean, y'all done a good job, but I'm just saying that's why I asked you. The other people can charge what they want, but I want to be good neighbors for our community. But these impact fees, we do have to watch, and we want people to come in, but if you don't, we recoup it. So I'm for it, as long as it wasn't for the present homeowner.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you've got that, madam.
Thank you, sir. Number 9 is pertaining to something Bland can shed a little bit more light on than me. It's a sewer clean out, going on private property. Oh, 7, I'm sorry. I was number 8 and 9 last time.
So you're number 7,
I'm number 7 now, I moved up.
all right, hold on a minute now. The thing that she's been discussing has been new cut-ins on newer installations for residents and businesses. What we're discussing now is clean out, Mr. Johnson. We're talking about current residents
Right.
and homes that are existing now. So
Y'all
we've gone back.
already approved this one time.
That's right.
Years ago.
All right, okay, well, bring us up to date on this, Lord.
Basically, what Blaine and I just want to reiterate is that these cleanouts must be in these yards. These residents want our help, but they don't understand that when he puts that big machine, he can't go on the property and use that big machine the way he needs to. If they don't have a cleanout, we're at a loss. We have to turn away. And they don't understand that. And
Well, we've done it for years.
and we can't continue to do that because the
There'll be
liability
sections,
is too
Huh?
great.
there'll be sections in the future, I'm sure.
Well, I imagine we will too.
So, basically, I don't need to be up here then if we're gonna keep making exceptions. Our liability
always
is
be
very
exceptions.
great.
Can I say something, Ms. City Clerk?
Sure, sure.
If we continue to make the exceptions, there is no sense in carrying any insurance, liability insurance on what we do.
I disagree with that because there's always going to be an exception that has to be made for something.
And I think if you go back to the old thing, that's why I asked the attorney to look at this last time. In that last agreement, the city tried to help its residents. Bland and those were going out often to say, wait, we'll come one time and we'll help you get it open. But then we want you to put that clean out because there's so many older homes. So we have to help them. We have to go out there and help. That one time, then they themselves have to keep that clean out, keep
Right.
that valve and everything in place.
But what's awful is I know of one particular home they've been to 3 or 4 times.
But we can't do that.
Mhm.
We can't do that. You know me now, if I'm gonna bring you out there 6 times, I'm gonna get you to come, but finally you tell me, wait, you done done that one time, you have to stop. And we got that agreement here to help your people. Once you help them, because you come in there, they don't have the manpower or the resource the city does. You help them, and when they get that done, now you tell them what they got to do so they can keep it up. They
Right.
have to do that.
And when they don't,
Then they got to get a plumber or,
which is what we're here to reiterate,
okay. But it's already out there.
right?
Y'all just push it.
I can't push it.
Let me
I've
get-
been told to be loving.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have much of a problem approving want to cry on behalf of the mayor of Hazelhurst. Y'all probably know him. My house, when you come out the front door, there's a planter. My wife used to keep it in good shape, but she's no longer here to help me. But there's flowers on either side and in the walkway. And right out from that planter over there is a clean out that goes down and goes to the street. Glenn, I believe I'm the last person on that line up there. I want just to reiterate that that's the fact. When I go for my sewer, my yard is all where y'all sit, and finally the street. And then on the other side of the street is where I turn in, and it turns Basin L, just like my arm here. And nobody's up there. I'm the last one going this way. I've had to have them to come in on my yard, because where that thing makes a turn across the street is where it's usually stopped up. Now, what I've got to do is go there, where Miles is sitting back there, which is the street right away, and I've got to cut into my line and put me a clean out there, and then Bland can come and clean out that lane across the street. But you realize that's quite an expense. Now, I'm using me as an example to let you know there are citizens all over this town that sometimes to be able to clean out the guts behind their house. And it's going to be an imposition on a lot of poor folks that stopped up, and me and Bland are not going to sit there and let some old woman or elderly couple or somebody we know has got no way in the world of getting that thing unstopped. It's hard as heck for us to walk by and not try to help those people. And so I want you to know, Bland said it first, and I'm going to say it second. There may be exceptions. Now, if the council wants to vote and say, we're going to adopt this policy with no exceptions, and you voted in, then I'll abide by it. I'm a rule follower. I'm not a rule breaker. But I want you to know that if Bain Stone, if the mayor is in this circumstance, which if I can get somebody to come put mine, there's a lot of people that's going to be a heck of an imposition.
I vote with exception.
Before you do anything else, if their clean out is in the back of their yard, we go, we take that heavy machine, we take it in their yard, we bog it down. They're gonna want us to fix their yard.
Well, me and Bland's got enough sense to know where we can go and where we can't. I don't know, honey. The reason
I'm trying to figure out why I was asked to present this.
well, you're doing a good
I
job.
really am.
You're doing a good job. But you remember, the reason I'm here, sitting here, is because I love this town and I love these people.
Oh, and I do too. I've been up here for over 20 years.
Yeah, and I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm here to serve. And sometimes that's the nature of the beast. Okay, council, I'm ready for whatever you want to do.
The rule is already in place.
Yeah.
Amen.
Leave it as it is.
Glenn, of course, I know we're doing some things that we ought not to do. We're helping people that Glenn and I both are too accommodating, I'll have to admit. But I won't go to hell for that.
Depends on what you accommodate.
Listen, we've got a nice audience of fine citizens out here. Let's behave ourselves. Let's try to behave. Yes, sir, Mr. Miles?
When Buddy Spann was mayor, at the funeral home, the line got stopped up, and so they dug down from the building out into the street, several feet deep, and they found out that it was stopped up out in the street. I said, well, Buddy, I said, I think that ought to be the city's problem. No, you're going to have to pay. I said, well, I named several, I said, I named several people that the city helped. He said, well, yeah, but they couldn't afford it. But you got to pay, so I had to pay.
Well, Lord, I don't know, honey, you did a good job, and I know it needs to be done, and I hope you don't get irritated with me. but-
I know, I mean, really.
You know me. I'm gonna help you.
Now I know why my water superintendent didn't want to stand up here. He tells me to do this stuff, but then
Well, you're brave, and
he says, well, we need to make
you
exceptions.
look a lot better.
So, I'm just,
You did a good job.
Thank you. Hey, how we gonna handle this, council? It's up to y'all.
There's already something in place for it. There's already something in place for it. The only thing we need to do at this point right now is to find the ordinance that's there. We need to pull it up. If we want to amend it, we amend it. If not, we leave it as such in place and we support what's on the amendment. I mean, on the ordinance and everything as is. Because like I said, there's no sense in having another ordinance for an ordinance that's out there. We just need to amend the one that's there.
Make a motion to that, Mr. Griffin.
Make a motion that we take and find the
Examine the ordinance.
examine the ordinance we have, modify it if necessary,
And
and
go
if not, support it. That's my motion.
Would you modify your motion just a little bit and say that we find the ordinance as it exists and look at it, and based upon Ms. Lori's fine presentation, decide whether it needs to be amended or not?
That sounds great.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Mr. Bloodwood seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for vote. All in favor say aye. Sorry. Okay, thank you, Lori. You did a good, and you are doing a good job. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, where are we now? Those two. Oh yeah, number 8 is what I wanted to propose to here. We amended the agenda to include the Gill Street well. Bland, come up here where it could be heard better, and give them a brief synopsis, and make it brief, of what we've done to, what happened to the Gill Street well, what we've done, and where we are, and what it's going to take to put us in business. Tell,
We're at the point now, we kind of.
what happened, where has it been? What are we got 135,000 gallons of water capacity that we didn't have.
And we got to put it on a hold for the simple fact that it had been left permitted as a non-potable water source. And before we spent a whole lot more money, we wanted to stop until we got assurance that that well could be put back in service. And we got that today. We just heard the LC raised, and that has been approved. And we were ready to put it back on. If we go with a submersible pump, same GPM as what the old was, the bid to repair the old pump, and you still gonna have to maintain a good system, oil, everything else, is a little over $43,000. Put a submersible pump in, that pump the same 500 gallons a minute, is $32,000. And that's what I'm recommending to do between that, the chlorinated and fluoride. We're looking at, I'm guessing this is going to be less than $45,000. And we'll have a third well and tank back in service.
For those of you that are not familiar with this, a well and a tank, a water tank, but now usually the water tanks hold 500,000 gallons. This is only 135. But it's not uncommon for the well to be somewhere between $750,000 and $1 million, and the tank about another, what, 500 or 600,000. We've got 135 in completely refurbishing the tank. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we got 135, and the tank is like brand new. And we now, if we get the well going for this 32,000, and we're talking about putting in instead of the pump we've got now, talking, it's a submersible 75 horsepower motor, by the way. We're talking about the big stuff. 75 horsepower motor submersible. We can take another 32 plus the chlorinator, like you said, for less than, I think you can get into less than 40,000, Glenn.
I just want to be safe. I don't want to tell them.
I believe we can, with $40,000 and what we've already spent, we can have this well back in service, and Lord knows we need it. When they had the fire out at Thompson a few years ago, Chief, tell them what happened. We ran out of water. We didn't have enough water. And of course, this still doesn't supply everything that we want to do, but it's a good direction in that, it's a good amount in that direction for a good, a very appropriate spending. And so I'm recommending that we do it.
Make a motion.
Mr. Bloodworth made a motion that we accept the 32,000 plus the additional about 8 or so thousand for the coordinator at the Gill Street well and get it back in service. Blaine, by the way, how soon can we, if we tell Woodrow staff to go ahead with this installation, and then with what you've got to do, when can you get this well back in service?
I thought Woodrow more than likely, probably 2 to 3 weeks.
I don't believe that.
And it depends on when he can do it from there.
Even with ours, that
What we got to do is very simple.
I mean, from the new cut in, where we could get us back in the tank and all? Okay, well, you heard what he said, let's say if we can get it in a month's time, we'll be doing good. I entertain a motion that we spend about $40,000 to completely getting this well and tank in service.
You have a motion and a second.
Second, down here, thank you for catching me up. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll spend another $40,000 and get that well and tank in service, maybe in 30 days. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I entertain a motion that we approve item 9, 10, and 11 as a composite 3 units.
Make a motion that we approve those.
That's water and sewer adjustments and the check registers, just housekeeping stuff. Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's got 9, 10, and 11. We're now at citizens' comments. Anybody out there got anything they want to say? Got anything on their chest?
I want to be brief.
Okay?
We failed to mention this a few minutes ago, and I think it's necessary we bring this and put this in the minutes. We have asked Amy Lynn to do us up 5 signs to go to the city limits of Hazelhurst, of each highway that comes into Hazelhurst. I don't know whether we need your permission to put those signs on your city limit signs or not. I don't know.
Well, you got them here, why don't you ask them for it?
Okay, I'm asking you for permission to do this. The signs are going to be 12 by 18 inches. They'll be set up underneath or on top of your signs, the city limit signs. It says Purple Heart City. It'll have a huge Purple Heart.
I make the motion giving them permission to utilize the sign.
Okay, got a motion made to give, and seconded by Mr. Grissom. Any further discussion? Hearing nothing, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it.
Thank you.
All right, citizens' comments.
I'm not a citizen, Mayor, but
Yes, you are.
no, not right now, I'm not.
Okay.
On September the 20th at 5:51 a.m., I received an email and a city clerk and attached to our webpage. If anyone has comments or suggestions or complaints, they can email me directly. I received this email and I would like to read it and acknowledge some people. To whom it may concern, I would like to take this time to thank the city for the new lights placed out at Weatherly Park. I walk most every morning at 4:30 until 5:30 a.m. I have had to call 911 several times due to a young man coming out of the woods at me. Another time, someone was out in the woods screaming, and then most recently, someone threw a brick into the driver's side glass of my van. However, if I make one suggestion, there needs to be another light placed in the corner of the park over on the Bell Telephone roadside where the first wooden bridge is located. I live outside the city limits and have always chosen to walk at Weatherly Park due to I always felt that it was the safest place for me to walk. I will continue to walk there, and I will always call 911 when I feel the need. Also, I would like to take the time to tell you what fine officers you have in Officer Mel Luke and Officer Macy Dean. They both responded to my 911 call when my van was vandalized. I could not have asked for anyone to treat me with more compassion and consideration that they did. Thank you for taking the time to read my email. Most sincerely, Karen M. Guerrero, and she lives here in Hazelhurst, Georgia.
Okay, that's nice that she acknowledged that. It's bad that we've got a vandal down there to do such a thing, but vandals are part of life, I guess. Now, as far as the light, gentlemen, I think you folks can approve another light down there if you want to. What do y'all want to do?
I mean, if it'll make it safer, I'm all for putting an additional light out there.
I don't have
A lot of people walk that area. They do.
It's a busy part. You want to make a motion, we put
I
it
make
this
a motion, we put an
Well, I'll
additional.
tell you what do we do it this way? Why don't we get our electric company, light person, we called on them recently, to come look at it and give us some recommendations on what we might do to make it safe. Make the thing in the form of a motion. Is that okay?
So we make the motion to contact Georgia Power and,
Think about a lighting specialist.
assess our needs
Yeah.
for the bar.
Okay, and to get a recommendation then. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Griffin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've taken care of that. Okay, any other citizen got a comment? Y'all sure are a quiet bunch out there. Okay, hearing none, we're now, Councilman, y'all got anything on your chest you want to get off?
I talked with Brett Manning today concerning the census, and we need to get started on that to the public to start seeing about our names and things, because that's reimbursement for the city and the county, and we really need our citizens to help us this year to get that back up to Atlanta. And he said that you should have some paper.
We already have.
I've been working on it.
Yeah, Bernice has already, our clerk has already been working on that, and I've been looking at it too. What this is, gentlemen, in case we weren't real clear, every 10 years we have a census. And when we take the census, a lot of things, grants, and I can't go over the whole list of things, but a lot of things. If you're missing 500 people or 250 people, it may cost you some money. So we need, when the census does get started, and since we got a good crowd here, for goodness sakes, when they start getting out, I know some people don't like for you to meddle with them for some reason, but we need to know, they don't know, that we're not counting them, we're not naming them, but we're counting heads in every house, and we need to know who's there. So anything that you can do to help us get a good census, we'll appreciate it. All right? Anything else, Mr. Johnson? Mr. Bloodworth?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for being here tonight again and having an opportunity to help y'all make the city the Purple Heart City. Appreciate y'all sacrifice and your service. Really do. Means a lot.
Anybody else?
This came to us, and it was on actually to the Hazelhurst Jeff Davis Fire Department. This was from Charlton County Board of Commissioners and everything. It came earlier in the week, whatever else, and it's Hazelhurst Jeff Davis County Fire Department. This is dear Hazelhurst Jeff Davis County Fire Department. On behalf of Charlton County Board of Commissioners, Fire Department, EMA, and our community, we would like to formally thank you for supporting our efforts to contain the West Mims fire by performing structural protection for our citizens. We would not have been able to defend the livelihood of our citizens without you or your equipment. Your firefighters showed a great amount of courage and commitment in supporting Charlton County, and we are forever grateful. It is a great pleasure that we are able to have such great relations with our neighbors, cities, and counties with the personal equipment. And you so graciously afforded us, we were able to ensure that no citizens lost their home during the fire. Again, we thank you for the quick response and all that you and your community have done to support us. We are greatly appreciative. If you ever need anything in the future, please reach out to us. God bless you all. Sincerely, the Charlton County Board of Commissioners, and they were given a certificate. It's a certificate of commendation awarded to Hazelhurst Jeff Davis Fire Department for dedicated service to Charlton County government in combating the West Mims fire from May 6, 2017, May 26, 2017. Signed, County Administrator Sean Boatwright, Fire Chief C.L. Lewis, and Chief Wasden. Thank you and your men, and we appreciate it.
Chief, it's a little bit before settling. How about taking a minute and tell us what all went on down there? Recap that fire and what happened down there.
You want to come over there?
Yep, if you would.
we received a call from actually come down from Jima, where they were starting to request some assistance as the fire was starting to grow. We responded with personnel and trucks down there, and eventually we responded with the mobile command down there. It actually took over the communications and the operations within the sectors down there. They had the, if you're not really familiar with the swamp, it's very hard to communicate in the swamp. So there's a lot of things that go on to help try to keep communicating so everybody can talk in from the different quadrants of the swamp. So we set up with some help. We set up some towers, and they tied all back to the mobile command. We had personnel down there for days. We were swapping out every 24 to 48 hours with personnel going down there and coming back. So most of them were not getting any sleep. They'd come in, go out, come in, go out. They'd come in long enough to get something to eat and go back out. So we were able to keep it from doing a lot of damage. It was trying to come into St. George. Made a run on a big wood producing facility they had down there. We were able to stop it there. So it was a lot of work, a lot of helicopters, a lot of airplanes. Some of the big planes that you see a lot of times in California, they had some of those over here dropping chemical on it. So it was a big operation. A lot of people down there, a lot of firefighters, and a lot of acres work. But fortunately, no homes, nobody was hurt. We lost a few tractors. And a lot of that was due to the fact that the state had bought some case tractors, and they were not performing to the ability they were, so they were having to abandon them. So they're now getting the roads and getting different tractors.
Thank you, Chief. Also, you might brief, and by the way, your minutes, but I want you to tell this group, I think we're familiar with it, about this mobile command that you carried. You carried ours down there, did you not?
Yes.
And did they have that facility?
We have the Area 8 mobile command, which, Charlotte County is not in our area, it's in Area 5. But they requested ours to come down there. Each area has their own mobile command, but at the time, the Area 5 mobile command was out of service. So they requested ours, and we took it down there. And it's, we set up all communications, mobile satellite, link up with phone, satellite, internet. We produce maps, we keep tabs of where everybody's at. So it's a lot of work inside the mobile command to keep up with everybody, and a command room at the back where all the folks get together and make decisions.
In case you folks don't know, right in Hazelhurst, Chief Wasman was responsible, I think, for us getting such a thing in here. We have something like a huge Greyhound bus that's equipped with phone, internet, radios, every kind of communication you can imagine. And they could drive up where there's been a storm or something and hook that thing up and stay in phone service and communication. And it's housed, it belongs right here in Hazelhurst, Georgia, and it was used down there. So we're maybe a little small town, but we're not a slouch when it comes to some equipment that we've got. Charles, you do a good job. Thank you. All right, anything else? They're finishing within the hour. Gentlemen, I always like to do that. Start on time and quit on time. Mr. Johnson, I want to in case you didn't know, he's responsible for moving the adjourn. And Mr. Bloodworth made the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I can get ready to present this proclamation.
Hey, man.
All right. Get all the veterans come up front. All veterans up front, please.
Good thoughts, I hope. Oh, yes. How you doing, brother?
Doing good,
Yes, sir.